Well, today I'm going to be showing you how I use my little bits and pieces that are left over once I've stripped out what I can use in Daphne's diary, and I've left with little edges of papers and things which are just so beautiful in themselves that I make some little masterboards. So let me show you some of the ones that I've done. Quite often I write notes on the back of little bits of paper or back of a greeting card, and I will use these to do some masterboards, just little mini ones that could be used as tags. So I'm just going to quickly just show you a couple of these. Here I've used a bit of book page and the Daphne's diary, and in this one there is some of that text. I often, when I've done flip through, said don't get rid of that lovely blue text because there is something there that's just a bit different to the normal printed text. These little strips that I've got here are from when I've die cut borders, and these are the little bits that pop out. Just a very simple one, but I could use it if I was cutting a tag that way, or I could cut tags long way. Could make it into a journal card. That's a bit more collagey, just using little tiny little bits and pieces. Sometimes they're accent words and images, so you could use those. And sometimes I just feel like doing something with color. Here are a couple more. Yeah, just pick up a range of colors and I'll work with those. This one I've done the pinks, but I had this as a border from one of those pads of paper with little things that you can push out, and that I could quite easily incorporate there with the pink. That actually looks rather nice. Not sure about that. Sometimes I've just got a scrap of paper and I just stick down bits that I've got lying around, working on colors, incorporating colors. I love this one because I could use it lengthwise, but I think I would also consider cutting it this way, so I just get that lovely cross section of different colors. This particular one, I love these colors, and I've got this lovely tea bag here which I thought I could use either that way or that way, and then I could put a little bit of ephemera or a sentiment onto that. I've taken here a whole page from Daphne's diary and stuck it onto a piece of card, and this just had all the needlepoint things. I've taken another little piece and stuck it just to fill up the edge, and because this has got such lovely patterns, if I were to cut slithers I'd have a nice base for something to work on. So what we're going to do today is to take a look at very little that's actually left of this Daphne's diary. So this is Daphne's diary number 5 of 2024. So this was last year, about the middle of the year sometime. I keep the covers because those will make nice journal covers. And here I have just a selection of things that I have sorted out. So when I'm choosing what I'd like to put onto a masterboard, I normally, so let me move this one out the way, I normally just start off with a couple of bigger items. So here again I've actually used a piece of that lovely printed blue text, and then I collect things within similar color palettes. That's just basically how I group things, just having the colors. I don't mind if it's strips or it's other little pieces, small pieces, and then all I'm going to do is just simply strip the things down. I'm using Elmer's glue, and I'm just going to quickly stick that down. So while you're busy collaging here, making your nice masterboard, you can just think about what you might like to make with it once you've finished. I'm not overly fussed about the orientation of the papers all being in the same direction, although sometimes I like a masterboard just to be directional, just because that's the way the colors lend themselves. I think I might put this down over here, possibly want a bit of color underneath over there. So I'll tear that and get that down first. Oopsie. So even when you've pulled apart your Daphne's diary and you're left with basically the little bits of torn paper that are stuck to the spine where it gets glued, you can even use those little tiny strips as lovely accent pieces for your designs. Right, let's glue this one down, and you can see that this doesn't take terribly long. Remember that this is just a basic base for you to be able to create work on later, and you could cut this into a whole variety of different things, or you could actually use it as a cover for something. That's entirely up to you. Right, so let's get that down here. And a lovely little robin. I'm not too sure that I want too much more. There's this quite nice little piece of gold. So because this is quite a thin little strip here, I'm just going to run the glue onto the paper itself. Stick that down. Just wipe away the extra. I like the fact that this doesn't make too much mess. Right, I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'll show you another one. Right, so for the second sheet, I've just got a piece of A4 copy paper. I've got my Elmer's glue, and I have just a ruler in case I need that for tearing anything. I have torn out a few little pieces of papers already, things to do, kind of pinks, Valentine's. This was just a little piece of ephemera that I had made at some point. So those are just sort of things that I've got as a starting theme, and my colors will be along those shades. Here are a couple of pages out of my Daphne's diary where I do have those kind of colors. So I think what I'm going to do is just start to tear some of my strips quickly so that I've got a bit to work with. Some of the, sorry, I must remember, tearing makes a noise. Some of the pages have images which I might like to use in other things, like the flower. So always just check both sides just to make sure that there's nothing there of real significant value. I do like these borders here. Those are rather nice. So I think what I'm going to do is just tear these borders off. And you can see by reducing the colors that you have got, taking the borders off, you're left with a whole nother color palette here that you could use for something else. One of the things for me that's quite fun is to start with something like this that's got a door and a window, and then here where the window is to cut out all the stuff that's at the back and put something of my own. That's quite fun. Right, so here's some more of my patterned background. Oopsie. I've got quite a bit more here. This time I'll just include that little bit of grey. That's quite nice. And quite like these colours here. And if I go carefully here, so the image that I'm looking at keeping is perhaps that one there. So let me just tear this over here. And maybe a bit more of this color here. So already it doesn't look like a closet of any kind. It's just got that lovely sort of whitewash look. Right, so let's start gluing these down and see where we go and what we might still need. So I'm going to start on the ends with some of the bigger images and just put a bit of glue on here. I think I'm just going to rotate the paper just to make it a bit easier for me to work. Only today's got to be quite humid. We had quite a lot of wind overnight and the rain started, but although they say it's going to be -3 or whatever, it's not actually. Right, I'm going to use some of this lovely gentle selection of colors and possibly just change the orientation of the paper. Let me just see if that will fit. Yeah, that will fit up here. There we go. Then I think let's put a splash of, no, that can go the other side. I want to keep this quite sort of gentle. I have a natural tendency to want to go for things that are brightly coloured, but I do love the more soft, subtle tones, so sometimes I have to check myself. But I'm sure I'm not alone. Right, so let's just layer this one here next to this piece over here, not quite to the top. And that's already got a little bit of faux washi, so that's rather nice in itself. Possibly you can put this piece up here. And it is just really a question of playing with what pleases your eye and then just gluing it down. So let's put the pattern on that side. I have some darker pink, let's put that over here. And quite often if you find something that's got lovely colour, then just tear that out as well. Because in magazines you'll find colours that you might not normally get in something like a paper or a scrapbooking piece of card, and that's a rather nice way of being able to use that. Let's put that in as an accent, although I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but it can come in nevertheless. And if you have made ephemera and you don't know what they're going to be used for, well, this is quite a nice way to use them in something different. Right, let's get a bit more of this neutral tone in, just so that I've got a contrast between the pinks and the other colours. I don't want that white edge, so I'm going to tear that off over here. Okay. And do have a combination of the torn edges and the cut edges. The cut edges will always be quite hard, whereas the torn edges will give you that lovely sort of soft feel. Sometimes when you tear things out from the spine, you get this little bit of extra texture on the side. You could always remove that if you want to, but I don't mind that. It's actually quite nice just to add in. That hasn't secured itself yet, so I think I'm going to put that piece here, but tear the white off. I want a plain. Yeah, let's put a plain. Hard when you've got two nice patterns on one piece of paper. You're making those choices about which side you use. And for me, making these masterboards is just a lovely way to be able to clear out what you don't need to keep anymore. So for me, because I have limited space where I work in my little craft area, I do need to regularly tear out magazines, sort through them and get rid of what I don't need. And that's part of what I'm doing with these masterboards, is just moving on some of the things that I don't need, so that when I get new Daphne's diaries in, that I will have space on my little shelf to be able to put them. So let's pop this one here. I'll go over, doesn't matter, no rules. Right, so let's get some of this lovely strong colour over here next to that border. Maybe I'll put it down at the bottom. Right, got some more of this deeper pink, so I'm going to pop that in just so that I've got two options of using it, but I'm not going to put it close to each other. I think I'll stick that over there. Then let's get another strip of this paper, these lovely pinks in. we go. I was just looking at our work Facebook group because I've been off for a couple of days, just seeing what's going on. And it's been just delightful to know that when I get back, some little piglets have been born, and we will soon be expecting the goats, because the breeding season is normally planned so that they are born in the early part of the year, and then the lambs come a little bit later. So when we have this carrying on around you in nature, it's just really joyous. So I'm looking forward to going back and seeing all the changes that have happened over the last few days. Let's put some of that at the bottom. Now, the only thing I don't really look forward to is the possibility of black ice. That scares me completely, because you just can't see where it is. Right, I have a little bit more of this pink, so I think I'm just going to just tear that. Maybe put that over there. Then we're almost done. Almost done. Oopsie. Just find something to fill this little corner at the bottom. Don't worry if not everything sticks 100% while you are doing this, because as you cut it up, you will find that you're able to fill in a little bit. Oh, there's some more hearts. I think I'll rather go with that. You can fill in or glue down any little things as you cut, so it's not too precious at this stage. So let's lift that up a bit. Squeeze that in, put that over. There we go. And that can just fold over here for now. And then I have one last little strip on the end here. And I think I'm going to keep these red hearts for a different collage, but I do have these, and so I might just tear up a couple of these little pieces. And I can just lay these side by side. So no real rocket science to making a masterboard. I literally just always take the things that resonate with me, things that I know that I will use, and colors and textures and patterns and paper. So that's how I basically work towards getting my masterboards ready. And then when you've got a whole lot of these, you can have a look at them and you can say, well, I'm making a journal with this particular theme, how's it all going to fit together? This has got many options for me. I can really see that, so I could cut out a nice journal tag there. If I had to take my masterboard this way, I could cut out some lovely long strips and make something out of that there, or I could have long lengths, or I could even do that and fold it and make it into the cover of a book. So plenty of options. So I'll just show you now, when this is dried, all the things together so that you can get a good overview, and then you can actually go ahead and have some fun. Thanks for joining me. Please give me a thanks for joining me. Let me start again. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Bye for now.